I'd like to welcome you to the Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Congregation. This is a come-as-you-are congregation. We are a group of seekers of truth and meaning. We are pathfinders. We are explorers. No matter who you are, what your faith, or who you love, you are welcome here. We acknowledge that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations. We recognize and honor the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. As part of our work to heal the wounds and strengthen the reach of beloved community, today our topic is economics. Only in a Unitarian Universalist church. And yet there are, or should be, connections between our economic systems to our values, and perhaps even our souls, to guide the world toward the way we want it to be. Fasten your seatbelts and put your own oxygen mask on first. My name is Doug Stewart, and I use the pronouns him, he, and his. I'm one of our worship associates, and today I'm joined by another of our worship associates, Paquette. I want to extend a special welcome to any first or second time visitors. Do we have any recent visitors that are here with us today? Anyone brave enough to raise their hands? Welcome. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. We'd love to stay connected, and if you want, you can fill out a little form with your email, and we'll send you our electronic information coming up. The first time I was in a Unitarian church, somebody sneezed, and I said, "God bless you," and I was like, "Oh." Is that okay? And then at the end of the service, we go next door to our social hall, and we'll climb brand new steps to a brand new deck. And much thanks to, much thanks to Bill and Pete and Leo, and I don't know who else wielded a hammer. Who? Karen? Okay. And Steve Jornsen. So thank you very much. That's awesome. You can admire it. It's going to last us. I have a few announcements, and then we'll start our services for real. I think we've got a new slide for these. So our Echo Spirituality group, and that's going to kind of balance today's economics class. It invites you to join over in the Loveland Pagan Festival today at the Foundry Plaza, and that's open today for the rest of the day until 5 p.m. So if anybody needs to leave early, they can get over there. We have a new recovery group. It's kind of a UU version of the 12-step program. There is a meeting this Wednesday at 6:30. You can see Pedro or the Reverend Dana about that if you want more information. Namakwa helps feed the unhoused and hungry, and the first Friday of every month we serve food at the community kitchen. In October, that'll be October 6th in the evening. And you sign up with Sue Matthews. I don't see, Sue, yes, Sue's here. So sign up with Sue Matthews. 2 more people? Yep, so 5 more people. There we go. It's a good thing to do. And next Sunday, we have an invited guest speaker. It's the UU minister, Cindy Pincus. She'll talk about karma and whether we conceive of it as something totally different from fate. So she brings a background of nature, Buddhism, and healing to her theology. We'll look forward to hearing from her. And now, Tam will start our service by lighting our chalice.
We light this chalice with the intention of becoming the voice of the vulnerable. May we bring equanimity and balance to our hearts and homes as an earth-centric salvation into the sacred space and beloved community.
And now if you look at your order of service, and we'll say our congregational affirmation together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant. to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. If you will, let's take a minute or two just to greet our neighbor and say hi.
And I'm going to take a little slurp.
Sure. Please rise as you're willing and able. Sing hymn number 121. Thank you. Please be seated. I don't see any urchins here today. Please, I appreciate it. The more the merrier. Young at hearts. The children's story does tie into our theme, and so I would like to read it to you. This is a children's story on what is supply and demand.
Very
and
sexy.
There we go. And what I'd like for you children to look for, help us look for, as I read this, is look to see where there is a new thing created, and look to see how the buyers influence the seller. So there we go. So Charlie loved baking cookies. He had a bakery that sold cookies and ice cream sandwiches. There's his bakery, that's Charlie. And everyone loved to go to his bakery. Summer came, and Hank and Ava wanted to go to the bakery because it was hot. There was a long line at the bakery. Those ice cream sandwiches are sounding pretty good. The cookies are $1, but the ice cream sandwiches are $5. So they're talking, Anna's saying, Charlie's ice cream sandwiches sure are popular. And Hank says, Charlie doesn't make that many ice cream sandwiches, so his supply is low. Anna says, it's summer now, the weather is hot, so people want to eat cold things. That's why the demand is high for his ice cream sandwiches. And Hank says, yeah, since the supply is low and the demand is high, he can sell them at a high price, $5. So they wait in line until they get their ice cream sandwiches, and they were delicious. But then winter came. All Hank could think of was something nice and warm. There were still people at the bakery store buying cookies, but nobody was buying an ice cream sandwich. This made Charlie think. People don't want to eat cold things in the winter, so there's less demand. What should I do? I have an idea. I will lower the price of my ice cream sandwiches and see if the demand goes up. So he lowered the price from $5 to $4, and there was a little more people, a few more people that wanted the ice cream sandwiches, but not very many. They still weren't selling well. What should Charlie do? He's thinking. Suddenly he thought of something else he could sell that might be popular. It was yummy and toasty. He's going to make warm cookies with melted marshmallows inside, so a marshmallow cookie sandwich. He added the new item to the menu, charging $5, and the line just grew. He was able to buy a mixer so he could mix up the marshmallow mix and make a lot more cookie marshmallow sandwiches, and he ended up with a lot of money. And so that's our story about what is supply and demand. And I think we'll forego singing the children out. Go and see. It's one of those. It's a teaser too. And so now it's offering.
Each week, you support the work of this congregation and all the ways we live our values in the world by your own generosity. In addition to supporting this church, half of your donations support a local nonprofit, helping us to make a difference beyond our walls. And also in the baskets, please place your written joys or sorrows in the offering plate.
Oh, we're not going to do that today.
Oh,
We're going to have a talking.
Thank you. So we're going to get that part. Today, our half plate will support One Colorado, and that is the state's leading advocacy organization dedicated to advancing equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender and queer Coloradoans and their families through state policy, advocacy, healthcare, and education. So please be generous as we listen to Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. We come together each week to share our lives and care for one another through all that life brings. Those of you who are online, you can enter in something into a chat, and if you have something brief and personal, please, if you could want to step forward and speak into the mic, you're welcome to. First, do we have any anniversaries or birthdays coming up?
Mine was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Tab. All right, very good. Happy birthday. All right, if anyone would like to speak, you're welcome to.
I have a birthday coming up.
Good.
In Leo, I'm going to turn 70 on Wednesday.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah, very good.
57. Had to do a little math.
Andrea?
This is sort of a twofold joy. One is, both things have to be coincidences. The first is that I'm so thankful that I'm still healthy and fit that I can hop on my 2 horses and get around and give them a good workout. And they gave me a good workout yesterday. I had a very cantankerous mare, and she was so good and so sweet, and I kept thinking, who kidnapped my cantankerous mare and gave me this beautiful animal that I'm having such an enjoyable time on? She was just like a different beast. So, Lord, thanks for that. The next thing is, Kat and I are big time horse lovers, and I got this marvelous Disney movie about the white stallions being saved during World War II. Philip was on it. And I wanted to have a movie get together with many horse lovers, and I need to arrange with Kat a time that we can meet. It can be at my house. I suppose we could do it at church. I'd rather have it at my house. But if you're a horse lover and would love to see this wonderful movie, please get in touch with me. I'll try and send out a little announcement. And for all you horse people, we can have a little horse movie card. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Dan and I, okay. Anyway, Dan just brought me back from my 75th birthday trip. We went to Iceland and just had an absolutely gorgeous time. And guess what we saw? We saw a whole bunch of Icelandic horses. We took lots of pictures. And we'll have to come see you about it. Thank you.
I'm here in case you didn't know. Pedro is my brother that I'm telling you had sepsis in the hospital. He's out of the hospital. He's okay. We found out what was going on, but I won't worry about that right now. The other exciting thing is that my youngest daughter turned 50 last week, and we threw her a big party at a bougie restaurant in Denver that involved a craft beer chasing the oil and crack.
There's those lemon squares with all the
Oh.
yeah, the lemon squares with the sugar on top.
Okay.
If anybody wants to know the backstory on that, it's pretty funny too. I'll tell you over there. But so we had a chase with the the crack bear going after the lemon crack, and we had Captain Stubing came and sang Love Boat theme to her. So it all sounds kind of crazy, but I can tell you more about it over there. But it's it was great. It was epic, should I say? Yes. So glad about that.
I'm Fran, and I honestly just have finished the worst week of my life. And starting Monday, I felt like something wasn't right. I had a class on Tuesday. It went poorly for me. I was like disoriented part of the time, couldn't figure out what was going on. I called my doctor that morning, called again at 1 o'clock, went to the class, and they had told me, oh, you'll hear something. We'll leave you a long voicemail, no voicemail. And I was really feeling bad. So the next day, made myself go to the gym, which I usually do anyway, and that didn't go well. So on my way home, I stopped at urgent care, and they confirmed what I suspected. I had a UTI. And then they said, oh, you already have a prescription that was phoned in yesterday from your other doctor waiting for you. And I thought, well, wouldn't it nice if they told me? So I took my prescription. Well, I didn't mention that on Wednesday, my dog pulled me over and cut my knee very badly and hurt my shoulder. Anyway, Thursday, I could hardly move. I mean, I could hardly move. I guess that's the day I didn't move much all day. Friday, I felt better. And today, I feel 100% better.
Hello, I'm Laurissa. I have something that's kind of a half joy and a half sorrow, but I've been working through some health issues lately, and I've been getting treatments, and the point of the treatment is it sucks. You feel worse for a long time, and then it starts to get better. So I've been feeling really off and just not myself lately, but I'm so grateful that this treatment is available to me, and I know it's going to get better. So that's it.
Thank you. Peter, you want to come forward?
Kind of a sorrow. I rear-ended a car last night. They came to a sudden stop because a motorcycle cut in front of them, and I didn't see the motorcycle, so I wasn't anticipating it. And I looked up and I hit them. So the front of my car looks terrible. Actually, they were driving a truck. It's I guess okay. I haven't had it looked at yet. I don't know, but I managed to drive to Longmont to drop off my wife at work and back up here. So I guess the car is still running okay, but it's sort of depressing and I'm sure expensive.
Oh. Well, for these joys and sorrows, we open our hearts, and we also, online, yes.
So Vicky says, please send good energy and healing thoughts to my 92-year-old sister experiencing many challenges following a fall and broken hip. Also a young niece who had a heart attack.
And that
was Vicky.
That was Vicky?
Yeah.
Okay. For these joys and sorrows, we open our hearts, and we also open our hearts to the joys and sorrows of the world. Trade spots. You want to introduce this part, Tam, maybe?
Sure. So today we're talking about economics, but also in a theological spin. So I asked my friends here if they would please come up and tell us a little bit about, was there anything theologically that you believed at one time that you no longer believe or hold any longer? And I'm so grateful that they volunteered.
Hi, I'm Pedro. And when I was growing up, we didn't have any church in particular, but my parents took me to several ones, some of whom preach the apocalypse and the end times and all of that. And I started thinking about it, and it didn't make sense to me. It was so completely contradictory to, the gospel, the sayings of Jesus and stuff like that, that I began to investigate a little bit further. Well, I found out that the person that wrote the Revelations was somewhat unreliable, and it caused me to dig deeper and find other contradictions to the point where I had to discard the apocalypse and also discard most of the Bible, except for maybe the teachings of Jesus, and because there's some great wisdom in there that is still worth knowing about. And so, yeah, my beliefs changed quite radically. Thank you.
I'm Laurissa, and I was raised in a very strong Catholic household. And one thing that is made very clear to you, I went to Catholic school as well, so it was all around me. And one thing that was made very, very clear to me is that the world is divided into two groups: the saved and the damned, the black sheep and the white sheep, as Revelations, I think, would say. And so I grew up thinking that there were these two separate, divided groups of people just walking around the earth. And I no longer believe that. I no longer believe that you are either good or bad or saved or damned or anything like that. I believe that we are all of the same stuff, that there's good and bad in all of us, and that it's possible for anyone to achieve enlightenment, I guess.
Hi, I'm Sue Pinkham, and as a child, no matter what one did, one started out by being bad, with the threat of going to hell because you made a mistake. That's not the way it should be.
And then she married me and learned what hell was really like. So I'm Bill, and I was fortunate. We lived my early memories of going to church were in Concord, Massachusetts, and my parents attended. They came from different backgrounds, but Christian, and they attended the Unitarian Church there. And so throughout my life, I've attended a variety of Unitarian churches at various stages. We moved from Concord to Groton, Mass. And again, that was different. And our teacher there got into helping us understand the various religions that were involved in the town. So we attended a variety of different churches there. And then, excuse me, on through college and attending a variety of different churches there because of, quite frankly, my college roommates and their beliefs and so forth. And then I married Sue. Actually, and here we are. But life has been great, and it's been great to hear other people's philosophies and experiences and their life experiences. And as you get older, that becomes more and more important. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Grace. As a child, I feared there was only one true way to a fulfilled life, that my purpose was to strive to be Jesus-like in the image projected by the Roman Catholic Church. As an adult, I realized that religious dogma is often an exercise of power and control disguised as spiritual practice. I believe now that there are many paths to enlightenment, and spirituality is an individual's relationship to the dimensions of life. I think that religion should not dictate consequence as much as it should inspire meaning, connection, and balance.
Hello, I'm Karen. I grew up a Southern Baptist, and of course, one of their basic tenets is the concept of heaven and hell. And in order to go to heaven, you had to profess your faith in Jesus. Well, I got to thinking many years ago, what about all of these people who have never had a chance to hear about him? All the millions that have lived, all the millions that are living now, and the millions that will live in the world to come. And I got to thinking even more so, and I said, this is supposedly a loving God that we have. So would he condemn all of those people who never had the chance to hear about Jesus to hell? I couldn't reconcile that with what I had grown up. And I no longer believe in that, nor do I accept it.
My name is Kacey, and sorry to the Catholics, I guess. Because I was told at 5 years old, after having a priest molest me, and I spoke up, and I was condemned to hell at 5 years old, and there was no hope. And it took me till the age of 50 to truly find and have a relationship with a true loving God because of, and I had to live through hell on earth, and I wasn't even married to either.
I'm Clay, and much like my mother, I was raised Southern Baptist, and I grew up with the belief in absolutes, absolute good, absolute evil, and the absolute necessity to believe what I was told to believe in order to find salvation and grace. As I've grown and my worldview and beliefs have become more informed by nature and people around me and my own introspection, I realize there are really no absolutes in the world. When we look at the natural world and we insist on putting them into boxes like species, and we find out the lines between all of those are blurry, and when all of the people in my life lovingly and wonderfully show idiosyncrasies and contradictions, and there's no such thing as a good guy or a bad guy, I realize that the only thing that comes close to an absolute for me is that there are no absolutes.
So let's hold our friends in loving energy, and as they take their seats, I would like everyone to think about, in your own personal life, what did you once think and really, believe in? And over time, maybe your mind has changed about it in one way or another. So let's just take a moment for that. And my name is Paquette, and as a recovering Calvinist, Congregational Protestant from New England, prosperity gospel was ingrained in my blue-collar family, and I wanted it to be true. For those who don't know, prosperity gospel is that belief that a person does, if they do good works, like, for example, donating to a televangelist, then God will bless them with material rewards in this life. Very transactional. And I wanted that transactional relationship. I believed that if I worked harder than anybody else and I did good works and was a good person, then my payoff for it here and hopefully in heaven would happen. Prosperity gospel had me desperately proving my worthiness for love and for favor because, quite honestly, God scared the hell out of me. As a child, I lived in fear of not doing well enough and then getting punished by a loving spirit. Sound familiar? So, Constantly hustling was how I proved to God that he should have my back. Volunteering at the hospital and with different organizations was my penitent thank you for God's grace. And if I had done wrong, I would double down on my philanthropic work because God was watching me and he was keeping track. Fast forward to 2008. I was a successful finance manager, my company's top performer, and I had awards on the wall. Had my own house, brand new car. I went to work every single day in a suit. I had retirement property, served my community, raising money for all kinds of philanthropic endeavors. And then Lehman Brothers fell. That day, because our investors lost so much on Wall Street, my boss sent me packing with everything in a box. And in no time, 40 million people just like me financially collapsed, losing everything, while the Wall Street robber barons floated gently to earth with their big golden parachutes. That's when my brain bubble burst, and I saw prosperity gospel for what it really was, a neoliberalism con game. When parents and teachers and firefighters and hospitality workers all lose their pensions and their savings and their livelihoods, and some of them even their lives, something is fundamentally wrong, not only with prosperity gospel, but with society. It took my own life burning down to fully grasp that prosperity gospel just fed into capitalism's propaganda campaign for manipulating the working class out of their precious time and their money. Let's consider, if prosperity gospel was valid, doesn't that imply that the poor and the sick deserve to be poor and sick because they've not done enough good works, or maybe perhaps they're just downright bad people? But we know better. Poverty is not a judgment from God. It is completely socially engineered. There is plenty on this planet for all of us if we just cooperate and share. Today, I have fully rejected the patriarchal, punitive God of my youth, and my concept now of a higher power is one that is loving and compassionate and doesn't demand me to perform for his approval. Instead, my concept of a higher power inspires me towards goodness. I can be good, not for material gains or for what I get out of it, even the blessings of God. I can be good for goodness sake.
Thank you, Tam. Thank you, Ryan. I could listen to Ryan all day. As a child, how did you come to learn about the value of money? When I was a kid, my parents gave me a weekly allowance for my chores. I think it began at 10 cents, a dime a week. And I could trade that shiny metal disc for candy at the store? That seems sort of magical. Wow. The late economist Robert Halbrenner wrote The Worldly Philosophers, a wonderful history of economics. In The Worldly Philosophers, he says societies survive by organizing in one of three ways. They can organize around traditions, like the feudal societies of ancient times, or maybe the caste system in India. People inherit their work roles from what their parents' work roles were, tradition. Or societies can organize by a command structure, like the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, or the former Soviet Union's controlled economy, with authorities setting production goals. But then there is a third way based on the market. Like magic, the market appeared on its own accord, moving from a barter system, my wheat for your corn, to gain force as the concept of money took hold and exchange became easier to make. My allowance dime for a piece of candy. Thus, we created the market, not God. Our early understanding of the market took a huge step forward in 1776, a famous year, famous because Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations, which led to the foundation of the study of economics. Smith explained that the market works through the freedom of supply and demand. We know that story by heart now, even attempting to teach it to our children. High demand creates scarcity. With scarcity, sellers raise the prices and their profits. The profits attract more production, the competition of which drives down prices until we reach an equilibrium between product availability and price. All because everyone is out for their own self-interest, buyers and sellers alike. This is the basis of Adam Smith's famous invisible hand that seems magically to adjust supply to meet demand. Now, I want to be careful to give early free market capitalism its due, because I'm about to rant on about it. On the plus side, the free market provides a vast amount of freedom, freedom to create product and freedom to buy it. The free market's competition encouraged innovation and efficiency and provided an incentive to work. Freedom, innovation, efficiency, incentive, all truly wonderful values. Yet, as the invisible hand of early capitalism grew and grew, it soon clenched into a fist that caused tragedies, even atrocities. Simply letting the market decide led to a race to the bottom and a society in which people were rewarded not by a God of prosperity gospel, but by people taking vicious advantage of one another. Can anyone call out an example of early capitalism's shortcomings? Slavery, beautiful. Other early capitalism monopolies, yeah. Indentured servants, beautiful, yeah. Good. Yeah, slavery, yeah. Slavery's a big one. Slavery and imperialism were among the worst of market-driven outcomes. Slavery imported to our land of the free, and imperialism treating subject countries as little more than slaves. You had child labor, and you had unsafe working conditions. You couldn't trust the food and medicine of any product. In 1906, Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle, a novel based on his work in the Chicago meatpacking plants, and it described appalling working conditions and the processing and sale of diseased and rotten meat. Producers polluted air, water, and land with impunity, arguably this has led to the climate change we grapple with today. Capitalism tends to create monopolies. A larger company can force its will on a smaller one, driving it out of business, and the robber baron was born. Insider trading and deception abounded. Bank runs, such as those depicted in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, happened all too frequently, and there was no rescue by Jimmy Stewart. No relation. Boom and bust cycles mysteriously just happened. The worst was the Great Depression, which waylaid 25% of the workforce. Newspapers called its homeless tent encampments Hoovervilles after the president at the time. It lasted 10 years. My parents, who lived through it, collected our Dwyer lint. Then there's this weirdness. The market failed to support some of the most critical human labor of all, that of raising our children, of creating a home, and of caring for the elderly and infirm. Quite the opposite. The market made caregivers, often women, dependent upon and beholden to those who produce goods they could exchange in the marketplace for income. To this day, caregiving is often unpaid and almost always underpaid. One last example of the market's shortcomings. Capitalism has a natural tendency towards income inequality. Those who are just scraping by, who have to spend their income on food, shelter, and medicine, have no money to invest. But those who can invest then gain investment income and can reinvest that investment income and gain more and more income. That being so, income inequality just simply naturally rises. So here's a question for you. In the United States, if this grain of rice, whoops, lucky, if this grain of rice, it sits there, if this grain of rice represents the average median net worth of a family, so the family's house, car, checking account, savings, the average median net worth of a family, how many grains of rice do you think it would take to equal Elon Musk's net worth? Any guesses? Pete's pointing to the bag. And that's getting in the right neighborhood. It would be 5 of those bags. What? Over 5 of those bags. So here's the median net worth of a family in the United States, and 5 of those bags would be what Elon Musk's net worth is. It's a factor of over 1 million between the two. So so that's the median value of a household. That's just one family. And that's the median value, so half of the families in the United States don't even have that full grain of rice. A system that allows that disparity, in fact, a system that promotes it, a grain of rice against bags and bags, is in need of some guidance. So overall, this is quite a litany of faults, from slavery to disincentivizing caregiving to promoting income inequality. Simply letting the free market decide creates a societal-wide, even worldwide, bless you, mess. There is good news. You can look at the history of economics as attempts to bridle the free market beast and steer it in the direction we want it to go. This means we put other values above the value of market freedom. And let me repeat that because we finally arrived at my punchline. The way we guide the market is to put other values above the value of market freedom. Values like personal freedom in abolishing slavery. Values like a country's national freedom in abolishing imperialism. Values like safety and caring. Putting laws in place restricting child labor and promoting job safety, product safety, protecting the environment, and providing some sort of safety net for those who can't work or need retirement savings like me. Values like fairness and justice can be seen in government agencies like the Federal Reserve System, attempting to restrict monopolies, create level trading fields, ensure our banks and thus our savings, and set monetary policy to restrain this really weird happening called inflation or deflation, while keeping the majority of us employed. Progressive taxes can be seen as a start towards addressing income inequality. Here's an interesting factoid. From 1949 through 1963, so a period of about 15 years, there was a 90% tax rate on earnings over $5 million in today's money. Maybe something like that's worth reconsidering. When you step back, it's just wild what we've had to do to restrict and guide the free market, to place other values like personal freedom, safety, caring, fairness, and justice above the value of market freedom. Of course, there's more to do. We need to continue to guide the economy towards our deepest values. Yes, we want a certain amount of freedom in the market. We want to encourage innovation and provide an incentive to work. But those innovations and incentives need to go towards work that lifts our values instead of creating yet another toy bauble buried in a cereal box wrapped in cellophane. We need the natural values of the market to work within the larger set of our higher values. Values, again, like caring for one another and caring for our planet. Values that recognize that every person on the planet has a worth on a different plane than their monetary worth. So, there's a need. How can we move the market in that direction? I'll close by suggesting 3 ways. First, vote and speak up to our government. When a regulation or a tax is on the ballot, have you ever heard the argument that it would interfere with a free market? Question that. The real question is around what is most caring for us. Steering the market happens when you vote, when you add your voice to what the mayor hears, or the city council, or our state representatives. Vote and speak up for caringly regulating the economic beast. I almost always vote for a progressive tax. It's getting us there. The second way to sway the market towards our higher values is through our investments. Those of us who have savings to invest. Savings we have, yes, because we've done the hard work, but it's work that's aligned to what society currently rewards, unlike caregiving. And because we had the good fortune not to lose it. We can choose to invest in socially responsible companies. We can invest in socially responsible nonprofits, charities, to encourage their outreach, as we did just today with our half-plate sharing. And we can choose to invest into Namakwa itself with our pledges and gifts, as this is where we seek to live and grow and explore our values and how we bring ourselves to the world. A third and final way to move the market towards our higher values is through our consumer choices. As we saw in the children's story, the market naturally reacts to our purchases. If we buy organic, the beast will create more organic goods, with the bonus that the competition will make them more affordable, increasing their availability to more people. Kind of magic. If we don't buy trifles, the beast will stop making them. when we buy our goods, let's make sure they are good. God alone won't do it, and that's if you believe in one. We need to guide the invisible hand towards the sun. We need to guide the invisible hand towards the sun. For the market's invisible hand has no soul. It's up to us to provide one. May it be so. Now, if you will, we'll sing our closing hymn, Rise If You're Willing and Able, and we'll sing number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
We extinguish this chalice, empowered to be the voice of the vulnerable. We promise to bring equanimity and balance into our hearts and homes and into our community in an earth-centric salvation, working together in beloved community.
Supply and demand. Supply your vote and voice. Invest responsibly, and with your purchases, demand an economic system that aspires to our highest values. May it be so. Thank you for coming.
See you at coffee hour.